Good morning, everyone. I am Avalon Perez, and I'm an editor on The Signal. And today I'm joined by Nick Carboni D, my fellow editor.
And today you're listening to the Signal Podcast.
All right.
So, one of the articles that's been doing numbers on our website is your food pantry article that you collaborated together with our wonderful videographer, Veronica Sexton. So, why don't you sort of walk us through the process of putting that article together and what the food pantry offers for students who didn't give it a read?
Oh, great. I'm really glad you asked about it. I'm so happy to see it getting the success that it's getting because this is so important. It's a resource that's available on campus for any student. As long as you have a student ID number, you're in. Like, you've got it available. So, what it is it's basically our program through which students who maybe don't have access to as much resources are able to secure food. It's just they're on campus, open 5 days a week. You come, you bring your student ID number, and they allow you to take up to 10 items a week from their pantry. So a lot of it is sourced through Second Harvest, and that is the Turlock, as a community, like Turlock's main food pantry, food donation organization.
And a lot of those items are already past the Best By date or are close to it, right?
So I'm really glad you asked me about that. That was something when we were talking to David Segenza, and he's the guy who's kind of orchestrating or one of the main forces behind the food pantry. He was saying it was so imperative that he wanted people to be educated that yes, a lot of the items that are sourced through the food pantry are either near their Best By date or already past their Best By date. But he was saying this is one of the main reasons we waste food is because that Best By date isn't necessarily when the food is unsafe, it's when the food is best tasting or the most fresh. So there are some foods we know, dairy, meat, those things go bad. It's undeniable.
You smell it.
You smell it. You can know in your heart and just in your nose when it's not good to eat. But other foods, you have your canned goods, you have maybe juices, you have things with a lot of preservatives, you have boxed and dry goods. Those things last a lot longer than people think they last. They can last weeks or months beyond the expiration date. And so he was saying a lot of kids show up, but then they're maybe disappointed or confused if they look at the Best By date, because there is this misconception that is not just in our local community. I think it's a misconception that is for all of really America's food industry, because like if you're really producing food and it's food that can be preserved, and you're sourcing it out to people, like, do you want them to hold on to the can of beans for another 3 months? Or would you rather have them throw that away thinking it's bad and then buy a new one?
Yeah,
It's
like food waste is like a huge problem in the country overall. Like just the amount that gets thrown away, usually by like outlets like Walmart's or any other grocery chains that just like when it's past its Best By date, even if it's still safe to eat, rather than donating it, it just all goes into a dumpster somewhere. So people who scoop that stuff up and keep it around and donate it rather than throwing it away, they're definitely doing a service for the wider the community and for the environment, right? Because you don't want all those cans in a dumpster somewhere.
Oh yeah.
Those are not biodegradable cans.
No, yeah.
So let's sort of move on to what's gonna be going on campus in the future. I don't quite have the details on it, but apparently this Warrior Wednesday on the quad, there's gonna be some Halloween themed events. So go ahead and look forward to that. Anything else that's coming up for Halloween?
Well, we did have another article that was really good. Halloween season coincides with tarantula season. We did have some fires in the past 2 years that killed off a huge portion of our tarantula population, but we still do have mid-October peak tarantula season. If you're out hiking on the paths, if you're out hitting the nature trails, you might be seeing some of California's most unique native spiders. So it's just something to be aware of.
Mhm.
There's this kind of fun scary that you get when you walk into a haunted house on purpose, and then there's the not so fun scary that you get if you step into a tarantula nest. So that is something to look out for.
Yeah, well, the fear is more getting your foot stuck in a hole than the fact there's a tarantula in there. Because the local variety, the desert tarantula, as I was reading in a wonderful article by Gabriela Muro, the desert tarantula actually, its venom is not very dangerous to humans at all.
Yeah, the real fear with that is not so much that it will poison you, but if you just so happen to be allergic, then your own body will. Yeah.
Yeah, plus they're not necessarily sanitary, and so those wounds can get infected. Because, I mean,
Yeah.
their venom isn't that potent, but they do have big teeth with large maws.
Yeah.
And so, but for the most part, when our reporter is going out doing a walk around the park trying to find tarantulas, there weren't a whole lot around again, because as you mentioned, our population has taken quite a hit recently with those poorly controlled wildfires that are sort of a frequent event now in the state. And so, I guess advocate for better environmental policies.
Yeah, let's work on
yeah.
not having California on fire as often.
That would be great.
I would really enjoy that.
All right, so let's talk about some other stuff that's coming up. We know that on the 28th, any of you student employees that clock your own hours, the payroll system's actually going to go down for maintenance. And so be careful for that, and just make sure you report all your hours before that date on the 28th. And generally, you're going to want to talk to, whoever your boss is or whoever is responsible for you, how best to predict your hours for the couple of days that system's going to be down for the end of the month, and make sure you get paid, even if you're working on those days, or if you have to do paper forms, however they want you to do it. I don't want to speak for any of the other bosses out there. On top of that, it's been a while getting this researched, but Destiny Suarez stepped down as our ASI president, and a new one has taken her place. Destiny was very, very popular around here, and we all loved her dearly. She got sort of a like the academic senate on her last session commended her for her work, and there was a round of applause. And so we would like to extend our gratitude to Destiny for all that she's done, and an article will be coming soon with sort of a more detailed talk about her whole experience working as ASI president for these couple years, and sort of the direction that ASI is taking now that they have a new president.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh,
Anything else that comes to mind?
just we do have outside of that for upcoming articles. We're really excited. We're gonna have coverage for the Indigenous Peoples Day celebration.
Oh yes, yeah, you were there.
Yes.
You and a bunch of other reporters sort of ran down there on the day of, and why don't you tell me a bit about what you saw and experienced there?
Well, I just think it was really, really special. They had Native American and Native Mexican. They just had these indigenous drummers, dancers. They had storytelling. They showed us how to play games from their culture. And oh my God, their food. Mm-hmm. They shared their theme was like nurturing, and part of how they expressed that was their enormous amount of generosity and hospitality to everyone who came in. Was they had all this food that was stuff that would be indigenous dishes.
They have fry bread?
They didn't have, I didn't see any fry bread.
Okay.
But they did have, berry salad, and they had mushroom tacos and salmon, and they had hibiscus tea. That was, okay, I've made hibiscus tea before. Mm-hmm. I thought I hated hibiscus tea. That was the best tea I've had in my life.
Did you find out, where they got it from? Did you like that?
Okay, well, that is something that you're going to have to look for in the article, because they actually had these placards that showed where all of these things were from and what kind of tribes would have sourced them. And so I really intend on doing a write-up about their food. because it was so good and I can't stop thinking about it.
All right. Well, we're all looking forward to that. We all love, I did a farmers market article myself, so I love shopping locally, supporting local business owners, contributing to the community, and contributing to, especially in the age of these large corporate grocery outlets. Let's make sure that occasionally you sort of spring for something a little special from these sort of artisan, gourmet craftspeople who really put a lot of effort into making some good foodstuffs.
Oh yeah.
So, all right, I think that's going to be about it for us today. Be sure to tune in again in 2 weeks' time, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Thank you.